difference. All right, and as we move to our devotional today, again, what a fantastic few days we've been having. We want to keep up that momentum. Today, the title is Guard Your First Thought. Guard Your First Thought. Turn this down just a little bit just to make sure we're not too loud on it. And the verse today is take every thought captive. Take every thought captive. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And I think we've used this verse maybe once before, but God helped me to catch the first thought before it becomes a full spiral. Help me to keep the first thought before it becomes a full spiral. The truth is the first thought matters because it often sets the direction for the next 10. If you do not interrupt an early thought, it can quickly become a full internal narrative. The sooner you capture it, the easier it is to redirect. If you think about a spiral, when you've heard somebody or even yourself, where you say one thing and then all of a sudden all these other things come into mind about the possibility. I was talking to somebody on a podcast the other day, and we were talking about, how we can go down this road. And he was asking me about my book and about the overthinking portion of it and what we will do when we're overthinking. And I went down this path that is exactly like this. I said, so, you wake up in this morning and, you start thinking about the possibilities of what could happen. Maybe it's cold or icy outside for those of you who've ever driven in the snow, and you decided before you even walk out the door and get into your car that the road is icy and you may slip. And you say, well, okay, so that's the first thought is I have to go out because I have to go somewhere. I have to go to work or wherever I have to go. Cleaners, bank, whatever it is, run errands. And then you say, well, it's icy, so I might slip. And then you think, well, if I slip, then my car, then you start, right? So, hey, if I slipped in my car, so I might crash into the curb. When I crash into the curb, I'll spin out. And when I'm spinning out, another car is going to go hit me. When it hits me, it's going to make me, it's going to hit me right on my right side. And then I'm going to go to the hospital. And when I go to the hospital, they're going to find something else wrong with me. It was just a minor injury in the car, but then they found that I had cancer. And then when I had cancer, that my kids are not going to be able to come visit me because the road is icy. And then they're not going to be able to come visit me because they live in another state. They can't afford to be able to fly out. When they can't afford to fly out, then they're not going to be able to see that I need some help, and then I need some help, and I'm not going to be able to tell them what I'm going to do, and then something's going to happen, and then I'm not going to be able to breathe. And we just go down this, and it gets so incredibly crazy that we let that one thought start exploding into something, and most of the time, it's on something that is never going to happen. And that's the key here as we think about it. An example of small thought, like they're upset with me. They may or may not be. They could be upset because something happened at their home this morning, but we've decided they're upset with me. And then it turns into anxiety and then assumptions and withdrawal. And it's never even questioned. Most of the time when we take this and we start spiraling, we're spiraling on things that are beyond our control. And we're spiraling on things that have never may have happened once in our life, but maybe not. So I've learned that not every mental, and sorry for not making this, for not even putting this up. Sorry, I'm going to put this up on the screen. I apologize. I just realized it wasn't up there, so let's put it up there right now. Make sure it's there. Okay, so you get the big part of it. And so I've learned that not every mental battle begins. Not every mental battle begins with a giant thought. A giant thought. It ends up at a giant thought, but it doesn't begin as a giant thought. Sometimes it begins with a small one, a quick assumption, a brief insecurity, a passing fear. And if you do not catch it early, it starts recruiting other thoughts to support it. I remember moments when one simple thought changed the tone of my whole day because I let it stay unchallenged. Something my wife might have said to me in the morning when I walked out, not thinking that it was something that would affect me. something that I said by mistake and then didn't go and apologize on the way. And it sat with me all day that I should do that. You move from a thought to a story, then from a story to a feeling, and then from a feeling to a reaction. Let me go over that one more time. So it moved from a thought to a story, then from a story to a feeling, then from a feeling to a reaction. Does that ever happen in that thought? That taught me the value of catching thoughts early. Sometimes the greatest victory is not fighting the giant spiral later. It's stopping the first false thought before it multiplies. One thing to say is, where did that come from? Is there truth in that? Have I rechecked it? The side is early interruption matters because the brain tends to build momentum around emotionally charged thoughts. Once we bring the emotion into the thought, then we lose the cognitive, belief that the logic that can go with it. We've been talking about this now for over 7 days about how when emotion's high, intelligence is low. And so when we allow our brain to take the momentum around emotionally charged thoughts, once the thought activates emotion, attention narrows, and the mind begins searching for related material. And this is where we get caught up in why the intelligence is so low. The intelligence is so low is because our mind is trying to make sure that emotion is validated. Right? So it is going through its database of things that have happened before, and it literally is searching for things that are validating the emotion that you're feeling right now. So if that emotion is sorrow, that emotion is anger, that emotion is sadness, that emotion is whatever that emotion that you go through is, your brain is trying to validate that emotion. And what it is doing, it is finding other like-minded things that have happened to you in the past. And here's where the mind gets scary, because sometimes it's not your emotion that it's finding. I'll say it again. It's not your emotion that it's finding. It might be finding an emotion of something that you witnessed before, something that you read in a book, something that you've seen on television, something that you scroll through as you were scrolling and doom scrolling that you saw on a TikTok or a Facebook. And your mind is trying to create that validation for the emotion that you have instead of thinking through the logic that allows it to go. And this can create that rapid chain reaction. Catching and labeling the first thought early can reduce the escalation and prevent a larger mental loop from forming. Holy moly. So when we think about this in the mornings, when I say, don't let the world's noise distract you from starting your day correctly. If you start your day with the news, that could be part of what your brain is trying to attach to an emotion that may happen in the next hour and a half. And oh man, these things are happening overseas, and that's going to happen to me, and all those things that you start ruminating on. So catching that thought early and go, wait a minute, why my logic is still high, why I have time to be quiet and still is how I combat this. So you want to make sure that you're capturing, and thank you for Anastasia for coming in from Bangladesh today. But what you want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure that you capture that thought right away, and then you replace it with what his truth is. Remember, we can't just remove thoughts. We have to replace thoughts. So capture it early, and you will weaken the spiral. So the invitation today is, what kind of first thoughts tend to pull you off course? What kind of first thoughts pull you off course? Because if you know that they're there, then you know that you have the ability to remove them. So the practice today, when you notice the first negative thought, pause and name it immediately before it builds. The short prayer is, Lord, make me more aware of the early thoughts that try to take me off focus. And the blessing today is may your discernment, couldn't get that out of the way, may your discernment at the beginning, not just recover at the end. So the reflecting questions for today that I'm going to put into the chat are, do you think small thoughts can grow into big spirals? And I ask you these obvious questions as the first question almost every single day, because of course the answer should be yes. I'm just reminding you, in your mind, do you think they can? Because they absolutely can. What kind of first thoughts tend to throw people off? Those ones that charge emotion. And why is early awareness so important? Because our mind is trying to validate that emotion, and it will find things, whether true or false, to validate it and take you down that road. All right, so that's another really good devotion for today.